obviously this is going to be, it's going to go off the rails and all over the place like that. And we're gonna have fun because I don't want to make fun of people's stories and such because that's always ugly. Tropes that need to be vaporized. We've all done this. We've all used tropes that should be cut out of our books. I know I've done it. And so again, if we're making fun of something, we're not making fun of anybody in particular, except if we do. But nobody in the audience. We're talking people who are making big bang. But again, I mean, because this can be really negative, but I want it to be fun and light. So again, let's just go there. And if it gets deep, that's you. So it won't be me. So okay, I just want to go down the rail. Let's start here. We'll go down to James.
Hi, my name is Kate Ressman. I'm one half of Golden Fleece Press. I'm an author and an editor, and I also have a day job, and I am also trained as a psychologist. So.
Hi, I'm Keegan Eichelman. I've written 50 books. I write in multiple genres, especially YA. And I also help authors who are self-published through every step of the process. I just try to be helpful as much as I can with my knowledge and help other people get out there. I'm all about empowering others and inspiring, especially kids. I do some classes as well.
She sounds like 50 books in like the last 8 years. Okay, she's not human, but yeah.
This is her first con.
Yeah, I know. It's like so I'm like both in awe and really pissed off at her. So, okay, James?
So say we all.
Yeah. No, but I'm more like how, because but it's to me it's so cool. Yeah.
My name is James Blakey. I'm a very small publisher, sometime editor, and author of one novel and a short story collection called The Cat Who Loved David Duchovny.
Is that rated X? Sorry. For files. Sorry. I'm Dave Simpson. Obviously, I have the worst jokes known to man. My students call me the king of bad jokes, which is insulting, which is cool. But I have a award for bad honor. I also work in psychology. I'm a part-time therapist, but my main gig is teaching psych to college and high school people, all sorts of things. And book reviewer, ghost tour guide, anything else. And I have 5 novels out and about 3 dozen short stories published. Obviously nothing amazing, but again, we're all here and we're getting there. So, and again, I looked through all my books when I was looking at this thing, and I counted about 10 tropes that I should be vaporized, just my own books. So I figured this is why we should get upset about stuff, because we all do it. All right, so we're gonna start off with normal questions, and then I have some challenge questions for you guys. So yeah, so whoever drank last night, you guys are screwed. So, okay, yeah, I went to sleep right after my last panel last night, but yeah, so I'm just going to go through some of these, and hopefully it's going to be all conversation and interaction. So let's start with something easy. And again, what is your least favorite trope? Something that gets under your skin, or just so freaking overdone that you just want to close the book and say, screw this. And if anybody wants a little refresher because you're a little hungover or you're just not there, or like me, I looked up last night and on a couple of articles, and the ones that they talked about here's the boring main character, the absentee stupid parents, happens a lot. Love stories that glamorize infidelity, those like even like a lot of the TV movies come out saying, should I go with this guy or this guy or this guy or this guy, or should I go with this guy or girls or whatever, or this creature. Plots that would be I actually sent it to a good friend of mine going through a divorce. Plots that would evaporate if people would just communicate. Yeah. Marriages that would just communicate. The angsty love interest. I got to stop. Child and teen characters who talk like pretentious adults. Big bag antagonists who lose through pure procrastination. You want your antagonist to be a go-getter. Strong female characters that are really just men in skirts or sex objects. Because again, a lot of guys have no idea how to write women. So that's it. Plain Jane.
Don't take all the good ones.
No, I'm just reading the top 10. I want to hear what your takes are. And no, you can use. I'm using this as examples for you to jump off of, or you can explain one of these.
Just waiting for us to get frozen. frustrated on it. So
Yeah, yeah, plain Jane heroin.
I've got a list. I don't know about
She's
y'all.
ready.
No, I
She's
think
ready.
it was written by like somebody who's purely sexist though. It's like it's like yeah, the tragic backstories I only mentioned once, but my least favorite one is plain Jane heroines who also have 50 love interests. Kate, these books don't pass spots, and I'm like, got it. The guys are much worse. All right, so what do you think?
Insta love. Absolutely drives me mad. While I'm sure there are people, and I've actually met people who like, they met their spouse, they clicked, and they've been married for 47 years. I couldn't care less that you have, you know, an instant relationship with someone. I don't find that interesting in the least. I would much rather you have to work at it a little bit.
The one for me is enemies to lovers. And people might
my
hate
God.
me.
That's still my answer.
But I'm sorry. I've never met anybody that's like, I absolutely hated my spouse, and then they magically became this wonderful person I put on a pedestal and I love to death. It's like, come on. And it's boring too, because it's like, you know, it's basically every Hallmark movie, like, oh, that man pissed me off, he gave me a parking ticket, or he, like, whatever it was, that, like, he didn't pick the right Christmas tree, he's such an asshole, and then all of a sudden, he's, like, the star of the show, and I'm like, come on, can we just be a little bit more creative, and can we actually reflect true, actually organic relationships where...
That would require
we
them
actually
writing
go
a
from-
second script.
Yeah, no, see, so the more organic would be from lovers to enemies. So that's
I mean, that's more realistic.
That's a
I'm
goal.
well, okay. Anybody who's been through a bad breakup, you know that's true. Yeah, yes.
Okay, so this is a smaller one. It's not like a big idea, but what drives me crazy is, and it's usually the good guy has to break into the bad guy's computer, and he's looking there in the password field, and then he looks around the room, and he goes, oh, this guy's a Star Trek fan, and he types in NCC 1701D, enter, and he's in the computer. That absolutely drives me nuts as a former IT professional. And right, so not only do I dislike that trope, and I think we have a responsibility as writers, when we see tropes, we don't like to destroy them. I wrote that into my novel, and when my good guy looks around the room, sees the cat, types the cat's name in, spoilers, he gets locked out of the computer. It doesn't work. So, yeah.
And for me,
Subvert your tropes.
yeah. I mean, since she stole my answer, so no, funny. It's the best answer there. So, I mean, it's like, but we were talking about it on our middle grade YA panel. It's like kid geniuses and kids who come in. It's like, oh, okay, I'm just 9 years old. I'm just going to come in and save the day because even though I'm a 9-year-old girl, I know how to figure things out that nobody else has figured out. It's like, stop. It's like, these young characters who come in. I'm thinking of Stranger Things, like the last episode or two, like it was just so wrong. But yeah, just characters who suddenly develop, but it doesn't be just kids, characters who suddenly pull out a hidden skill out of their ass and say, wait, we got this. Like, where was this for the last 350 pages? Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna pull it out now. So, yeah. So,
Magic card.
yeah, yes. Yeah, instant crocodile is the appointment. Okay, so now, this is a three-parter. Again, you answer what you want to answer. Okay, well, okay, there are, a lot of tropes are tropes for a reason, because they're cliches, because they work for so many years. But people do this to make them worse. So what makes a trope bad? Is it overuse, bad examples, laziness, or something else? James, I'll start with you this time.
Okay, so this is, what makes this trope bad? Okay, so I was just going to talk about what I didn't hate with this line. This is a good segue. Okay, so fans of the Rockford Files in the 1970s, if you count how many times Jim Rockford is knocked out unconscious, right?
Nothing compared to Mannix.
Of course, right. Many of these guys are saying, all right, but it's the 70s, and we didn't know, all right, but now we know about traumatic brain injury and concussion protocols and all that, and and CTE, right? So people just keep writing, and I will confess that like the first couple of hard-boiled, detective novels I wrote, or short stories I wrote, the guys got knocked out, and I didn't think anything of it. So, but I learned my lesson. I wrote a short story about a volleyball player, and she hits her head on the court going for a dig, and they take her out of the game. Concussion protocol. She's overnight in the hospital. She's into CT scan and an MRI. So, what makes a trope bad is, right, in the 70s that worked, right? But now we know better, and people who don't update that when we have better knowledge.
Yeah. It's free will. Okay, all right.
I got lost in his description.
Okay.
I was thinking about
Okay,
it.
no, I'm not making fun of anybody, I know we're a little slow today. So what make a trope bad? Is it
Oh, okay.
overuse, bad examples,
I
or
think
just pure
it's-
laziness?
Okay, so it can be overused definitely, but I think usually it's the technique of the writer. You can write tropes well if you make it interesting. But if you're doing this, following the same, the same pattern that's been done forever, and there's nothing adding to it, and execution is everything, I feel like. I mean, as much as I hate enemies to lovers, I tried it because I wanted to see, like, how does this work? What are we trying here? And so I give it a shot, and like, I'd like to think I did it better, but we just tried these things, and I think that the more creativity with the trope, I mean, if you have to do a trope, you might, or you want to, you might as well execute it well and give it a little bit of a fresh look.
I think it's possibly the inherent laziness of using it, or more, not laziness so much as thinking that it has to be there in your story when it doesn't contribute anything to your story. You can have a YA adventure story that does not have a love tripod. Okay?
What kind of trapezoid?
Now, if maybe, but, if it's not a triangle if the bottom doesn't connect to.
I'm out.
Maybe that's their trope.
Oh, wait, say that again, because I want to put it on a button.
It's not a triangle if the bottom doesn't connect to.
Connect that line.
It's a love corner, or a love angle. It is not a love triangle. Like, all three legs have to connect.
Okay, I'm also a licensed therapist, so if anybody needs help, I'm Whoa.
That's what they
That
make
is
buttons for.
That is the best thing I've heard this weekend. Yeah.
You got that down, Dan?
All right, I don't know where to go for that, but blew my mind. I'm gonna do a basic for this one because I was reading last night. I was trying to read because I'm a book reviewer too. Because I don't pay for books. It's cool, and I was looking through the basic ones because we're here for sci-fi, fantasy, horror stuff. Okay, I cannot stand vampires because do I like them? Yes, but I hate. I went to a vampire museum. Have you been to the vampire museum in Pennsylvania?
Where?
Doylestown, Pennsylvania. They actually have a whole museum dedicated to vampires and the cult. And they have all artifacts from across the world. And when people actually thought vampires were real, go there. It is phenomenal.
When they thought.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, and the owner is actually he actually got certified as an exorcist by the Pope. Himself. You can actually take exorcism classes over the Vatican. So yeah, weird things. But anyway, so my main thing, my hate is like this massive thing that's coming out now called grief horror, and I can't stand it. Because again, I read to escape. I read to get away from the horrors of the world. And even like my dad passed away this fall, and it's like, okay, people said maybe when you go through it, you want to read this. I was like, oh no. It's like, I don't rather read about to get other people sad. I'm one thing that I don't understand. But zombies, I hated zombies until I was in a collaborative with 12 other writers, and we did something crazy with it. There are so many bad things, but again, vampires and grief horror are just so bad because they don't go anywhere with it. They hear somebody died, and let's go and let's see how it changes you. Or vampires, they suck. Like, how do you deal with it? And this novel I was reading last night, endorsed by Stephen King, like I said, one of the best things ever. I stopped it 100 pages in. I want to keep on giving it chances. But it's like, how is this different than anything else? And it wasn't. And I said, it's done. Okay, oh my God. You threw me off completely. Oh my God. Every time I see a trial now, I'm going to think but this is why I love it. Okay, so, all right, now, since we're on the funny track, let's just keep on going. All right, so, okay, zombies, vampires, cute aliens, the chosen one, okay, which sucks. Everything. Okay, let's brainstorm. How can we as writers improve these, throw it on its head, everything else? So let's brainstorm. It doesn't have to be just those, but any tropes. Those are just the ones that I use as a jumping off point. Zombies, vampires, cute aliens, chosen ones, whatever. whatever, how can we actually change those, improve those, and go forward and take what we have and make it better? Anybody?
So I think you were mentioning enemies to lovers. I think, actually, if we combine both of your discussions on that, if you did a second chance romance or a second chance relationship where the enemies came from them previously being together or being in a relationship or being friends, that sort of, like, we're on opposite sides of the situation now. Oh crap, let's come back together because of what we have to deal with. I think that could work. That would sort of give you an actual reason why somebody might be an enemy, but you still have that underlying affection because, like, we were together for 10 years. I don't want to see you in that situation. So on either side of that situation, you could be like, all right, I can't be your hero necessarily, but I can find my way back to being your friend, and let's pick up the pieces and move forward or get through this horrible situation.
And does it matter why they break up? Or
Yes.
why they're enemies?
Exactly.
If,
What is the
Romeo and
motivation?
Juliet is that trope. Their families are enemies, that's why they're
Right.
initially enemies.
Yeah, but they personally are not necessarily enemies. Although, if I found out that the guy I was gonna be with dumped his last girlfriend without even telling her that he was gonna dump her before he tried to jump onto my balcony, we might have
Is that a euphemism?
That would
He
be,
started it.
that would be telling.
Hey, you know what? If we're gonna go down to the gutter, I am there for
Hey,
it.
this
So
is
so
what
good
we
for the
did.
rest of
Does
us.
he have to remind you that the camera's
It's
rolling?
not on camera.
This is
But
going
this is the
everyone.
thing, like, Romeo broke up, didn't even bother to break up with Rosalind before he was falling in love with Juliet, okay? So, I have issues with that. But that
They were
could have been
13.
a thing.
Yeah.
Again, teenagers thinking that the world is ending because they had a breakup. I didn't get it when I was 13, okay? Like, I had a problem in high school with people being all dramatic about their relationships. Turns out that I don't get it because I'm ace, but that is a completely separate thing. People were like, oh, I can't handle it. I'm like, come on, you were dating for 2 weeks. Like, get over it.
Yeah, no,
high school was bad.
Yeah, I don't care what shapes are in there, like 2 weeks is nothing.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, I mean, because, now, breakups, I teach high school too, so I see the worst things. But again, at certain ages, like, it literally does change your brain chemistry. Well,
Yeah.
so, and it can literally make you feel like the world is ending. And so even though it's reality, but you can't see that reality. So,
Right.
but for people who are going through it, and then people who are close to that age or things like that, they can relate. The world is ending.
Oh, yeah.
But at least until your brain chemistry can catch up and say, you know what, he's a dick anyway, so let's just move on.
Yeah. I think we're creative, so I think be creative. Don't rely on somebody else's. I write a lot of things that seem like they should be white and black. That vampire girl, if you look at the cover, if you look at the pink girly, it's a paranormal romance, but a lot of people read it and they're like, wait, this is totally different than the typical book in a paranormal romance. It's got a lot of thriller in it. It's got a lot of dark, gritty, And I think that we have to maybe draw from different things. We read different kinds of themes we like and bring it into an unexpected place. And people enjoy it more when they have the theme that they're, used to, but they're also getting kind of a different view on it. So.
Don't you all try to use tropes and then flip them so that
That's fun.
Well, that could be, or also, once I want them writing it, and I don't outline, I pseudo outline where I put all my plot points where I want to go, and I have my endings, and then I use it as a roadmap to just like veer off the cliff. So, but I like to pretend to know where I'm going, and then I go off. So when I'm seeing myself, think, wait a minute, this sucks, or this has been done a million times. It's like, what can I do to flip it? So I do that a lot, and if I flip it and it works, great. If I flip it and it sucks, then I do somewhere else. But but I think the more and more we're adept at seeing that we're painting ourselves into a corner or whatever shape you, whatever. Yeah, I think too that that cognizant thinking there, like you can say where you're going and then understand where you're going and split it. But again, if you can't see that you're doing it, that's really hard, which is why we have editors and beta readers and things like that. A lot of times we don't see it.
Okay, so you all are all so very creative over there. So,
That's meant as a passive aggressive slam.
no, right. So
Okay.
no, because one of the right. So I see this trope and I don't like. So what do? I go to tvtropes.org and then look for people who have subverted the trope, right, and to get ideas how not to do the trope. So another one that drives me crazy is keys on the visor, right? Has anybody ever done
my
it?
gosh.
I live in the country. I leave my keys in my car, but I leave them in the cup holder. I would never. Nobody in the history of the world has done that.
I have seen it, and this is because I was a transportation unit supervisor, so I watched guys in the truck, the big rig, they would keep it in the visor because it wasn't their car.
Okay.
So everybody put it in the same place, and it was in the visor, and then you would pull it down to get the key out. And then you put it back up there because, I will be perfectly honest, the rest of that cab was absolute crap. Like, you could maybe find the cup holder if you were lucky and somebody had to get, like 14 napkins in it to soak up the coffee cup that they spilled in there. But everybody put it in the same place. And but that's literally the only place I've ever seen it. I've never seen somebody do it out. Maybe it's older. I'm wondering
It's
now.
older and it's cabs, it's anything like that.
Yeah.
My dad used to drive a cab. Same
Yeah.
thing.
So I'm thinking maybe it falls out of the like
The
It's not,
commercial.
it was
commercial
not in,
industry.
it wasn't in public sight, but it's all in the same place.
Yeah.
And to say for working through something that I'm working through, because again, I always have like 3 or 4 novels going. One thing I've always wanted to write, I love time travel stuff, and I always wanted to write something time travel, but I figured, how do I put a new spin on it? And I thought about it for a long time, one story germinating for a couple of years, and finally found something. What about if, because again, I teach music therapy, and how music changes your brain. What about if somebody has the skill to listen to a certain song, they could be transported to when it came out, or something else, or to a concert, something else that, it's not the crux of the story, but to go back and do the stuff. This girl coming through time to take out abusers in different parts of history, and then do it. But she has to, she listened to Led Zeppelin, she goes back to 1970. She listened to Def Leppard, she went to 87. She listened to Justin Bieber, she's going to hell. Like, so, yeah. So, but again, something like, and I wanted to do something totally different. So I worked, but I said I will not write it unless I can do something different. And it took a long time for that. Sometimes it happens like this. Sometimes it takes forever. But again, I'm holding myself to that standard. I want to do something that's going to burst that trope wide open. Because again, I've fallen for it. I've fallen for the other things a million times. Okay. So let's be positive here, because again, we need positivity. So, gonna make you guys think. Yeah, no, wait till next year. This is gonna hurt. No, not this one. But again, so what new tropes, creatures, or ideas should be investigated more? Do you think? Because I mean, and now, no, this could be, maybe it's not the full trope, because obviously they have been investigated more, but something you may have seen or read about or written about or heard about, you think, wait a minute, this is a cool thing that either should be the next thing, or could be the next thing, or whatever, or you just would love to be the next thing. See the hamster's running through it.
I was just gonna say my hamster's just flopping.
I know. I honestly think tropes is a bad thing, and I feel like I should think of new ways to spin it.
So I think we need to think about the fact that Hallmark movies sell.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
the thing is, the trope isn't bad. How you deal with the trope, the structure of a trope, we're using that shorthand isn't a bad thing. Exploring new items, I think we've got some room
Mhm.
in changelings. I think we've still got room in gargoyles. I think there's room in like Rusalka and some of the Eastern European monsters. I don't think those are investigated or used enough. And I think that there are new jobs. There's new types of, say, investigators, new types of crime that could be used, even if we're using some of the older tropes. Like we're using a Rockford file, but Rockford file in 2525, what does that look like? We can take those older tropes, move their time, move their place, make them into something different, but I still think there's a lot of room, even in the things that are really heavily used.
Yeah, maybe tropes is the wrong term, but different ideas or different concepts. Yeah, so before they kind of become tired, clarify.
Well,
Yeah.
I was thinking when she's talking too, one of the tropes that I really like and I write a lot is found family.
Yeah.
And I think that brings such like a warmth to people,
Yeah.
and I think that comfort books are doing really well right now. You know, you see more of the like softer, comforting type novels because people read for the excitement or they read for that comfort, which can come from patterns within stories. So I find found family very warm, and I hope that a lot of people, you know, we continue to go kind of with that as well. I enjoy it myself.
And you just brought up a big thing. It's a positive thing.
Exactly.
It's not. Yeah. I mean, one thing that's coming out here. I wrote about middle grade. They jump on a train that takes them to different parallel worlds, but they're all from a group home, and they're all they want to do is find their families and celebrate and grow. And again, they realize obviously that that's the main thing there. And again, but it takes them all this stuff to go through. But I figured, the found family thing is huge, and I think that it's not investigated enough. Okay.
So by the end of the Cold War, right, all these bad Soviet stories were kind of like getting played out. And once it ended, right, these guys shifted, and all of a sudden, Japan, right, Clancy wrote to Japan, Crichton wrote to Japan, were drug dealers, Clancy and Dale Brown. For a couple of years, it was new and it was fresh before it got like ossified in tropes. And I think AI is going to do what that is now. Michael Connelly's latest book has an AI, and Nelson DeVille has an AI. So like big, like mainstream writers are writing about that. So it's a lot of places to play with it. It hasn't gotten that trope yet. So I think AI is probably something that falls in there.
Yeah, and for me, I just think, like to say, I'm not pumping my own story because this book's not going to be out for quite a while. But again, I talked about the other panels. I hate serial killers because I've studied them, I've seen them, but I want to write something. And my whole novel idea was conceived over alcohol. We literally sat in New York City and would say, let's come up with the most commercial sounding book possible to make us $1 million. And we had 6 of us there, and one woman actually did it. She's one of the richest new writers on the planet. Hate her. No, seriously. Her thing, her name is Geneva Rose. She's a good friend of mine. But she said, what about if the guy, her husband, was having an affair and he was in bed with his mistress, but lo and behold, they wake up the next morning and she's dead. Oh no. But don't worry, the wife is the defense lawyer, so everything's going to be fine. I was like, what the? And she's like, I know, but she's like, watch this. And then next thing you know, she's USA Times bestseller list, offering all the other things like that. And now, but here's the thing: that she wanted to use it as her entry, and then she read seriously. Now her serious books, nobody wants them. So, but she's like, I feel good. I got money. I am dead serious.
She got paid.
Yeah, no. I talked to her a couple of years later, and I was like, so how do you feel? She's like, freaking awesome. And she's like, and I said, you don't feel bad about your thrillers? And she's like, have you seen my feed? Did you see where we're going on vacation? Everything else is this. She just had a kid. She don't sort of worry about working with her kid. She gave me some. But she meant to go into jumping off point. Now she logged in, but she's okay with that. But again, serial killers, I think they're so overdone, so boring, and I figured let's do something. And Dexter's one of my favorite series. But I figured, what happens if Dexter marries somebody worse than him? Because again, marriages are crazy to begin with. But again, if you have a psychopath and a sociopath, and then everybody thinks they're like so locked in as these conditions, and they're not. There's lots of gray in between. And I said, okay, what if she's worse than he is, and they're both the most normal people in the story, and then everybody else is screwed up, and they're trying hard to find their humanity, but they're still killing people. But only bad people.
As one does.
Only bad people. I mean, and again, I work with kids who are human trafficked everywhere else like that. So there's a lot of emotion there. But it's like I say I am not going to write this unless I can do something. But and again, to start off as a total joke, because I figured this has never worked, and it's going to be my most enjoyable book writing experience I've ever had. So, but again, it was, I'd like to say by design. Hell no, it was a complete accident. So yes. All right, so this is going to take a while because it is 11:33. I expect this to be the last question, but and then we'll go open up for this. So if you choose to partake, if you have enough brain cells, is that hamster head of monster, we're good. I know my hamster is like is we're calling EMP as well. So this is a challenge which I came up with last night. So here's the thing: those who want to come up with a quickie plot or group of characters based of tropes, just to come up with something brand new. So to either, and I don't know if I can explain this, but to take something that's really overly done and cliched and worn out to make it cool. So again, to give an example, okay, if you go back to Star Wars, which is not overdone at the time, you had the scoundrel, you had the innocent boy, you had the princess who made out with her brother, you have the creatures who are cute and the totally evil Darth Vader, who we found out later wasn't. But all those tropes, we put them together and it made something unique for 1977 and 78. So, but again, what do we think here? Can we come up with a cool story, a cool idea, or something, or just a cool concept by combining some of these tropes to make them something new? I love to make people's heads hurt. So, I'm
Just
sorry.
testing us today.
I forgot it was going to be 11. So, if you want ideas, I can throw out ideas. So.
Broad ideas will add on.
Okay, so here's the. So I'm thinking right now. I love the classic monsters like Dracula, Frankenstein monster, zombies, things like that, just because they're fun. I'm never write about them, but we've heard all these monster clubs and things like that. But what about? If we had like a monsters therapy club or something else like that, where like we all got to meet once a year. It's like, okay, how's life going? Yeah, exactly, something like that. Or if suddenly they were all cured and Dracula is no longer immortal, Frankenstein's monster is like, okay, well, you know what? Hey, I just got scars, accept me. And then creatures from the Black Lagoon realize, oh shit, I have to go back and live in the water all the time, or different things like that. And all of a sudden you had like a monsters therapy group. And literally, I'm being honest, I literally came up with this now, so it probably sucks. No, but I'm saying, but it's so basic. Those classic monsters of turning on its head, something like that. And if you go back to, I'm a huge Stranger Things fan. But if you look at, there's so many basic tropes in it. Like there's every basic trope. But you put them together and it works because A, nostalgia, and B, it's human and they're authentic, but it works. So it's been done before, but I figured I'm going to see if we can come up with things on it right here.
I want to see the A-Team, but they're classic monsters.
So you're just ripping off the mind.
Yeah.
Okay.
You came up with the classic monsters, but I want to see it like
Monster
Like-
Squad.
Monster
Yeah,
Squad,
yeah.
like Leverage, but they're monsters. Like I want to see that
So they're solving crimes and solving
solving
issues.
issues, but they're
Still on the run from the
still on
authorities.
the they're monsters, right? Like
Yeah.
they have to run away from monster hunters. Monster hunters become the antagonists. They're
See, that's cool.
so like
Yeah.
Take notes.
supernatural from the
Yeah.
monster's point of view,
Yeah.
right?
I
Like
want some comedy in there. Like,
Yeah,
I think
I
we can
think
make it like
there could be
from
a lot of
scary to
tension.
funny.
Yeah,
like-
because and I love that because it's very funny. But think about that with if you had a Dracula and there's like, wait a minute, like, oh shit, why do we have to start at 8 a.m.? Like, no, can't we do it later? Or like, Franklin's monster would be coming under, all of a sudden he's going, I can't drive, I just lost an arm. Or something else like that, or.
What about Dracula, like, he has to get a job, he's serving burgers at McDonald's, like, I think that would be hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, not being serious with it,
I
but
know,
like.
like, usually
So I can
like
only
the
work the night
true-
shift?
Yeah, like the true, like.
He's only
inclusion
chewing on the
guy.
red meat, the uncooked meat.
I mean, it'd be hilarious. I don't know,
Yeah.
I think it's funny.
Okay, well, okay. If anybody does this and publishes by next year, I'll buy you dinner. Yeah, no, that's really cool. I like that. Yeah, but see, and you thought it was so hard, but like, the moment the wheels got going, it's, yeah. All right. Which one do you go for? Sorry.
I don't know, I was trying to think of something.
Formulating.
Wait, no, that's what I said. You can think.
No, I was trying to think of something, I have no idea, you guys are gonna have to have, like, something with, all right, so there's like so many, like, trope characters in high school and college, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of a way to, like, just flip them, but it seems like if you flip them, they're like another trope, right? So if you're like the blonde airhead cheerleader, right, that's true. But if you make her like really brainy, that's like already a trope too. Where
So you're saying
you think you've subverted it, but it's not.
So are you saying blogs can't be smart?
No, I'm saying.
I'm starting to fight here.
Start a fight. So I'm trying to think of something that hasn't been done. Of course, everything's been done. So I can't even think of something.
It's a hard. I meant it to be the hardest
It
question.
is very hard.
Yeah.
I think high school is a good place for that, because there are so many sort of stock characters, as it were. But, for example, in my high school, the head cheerleader did date the quarterback. It is a thing that happened. However, the head cheerleader was also in the GT program. She was really, really smart. And he was an absolute sweetheart, even though he was, the quarterback and he was, like, popular kid. But this is a guy who would give you the shirt off of his back, because he just liked he was like a golden retriever.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So Rick. So generally speaking, right, and it's probably part of American culture. Like we always like root for the underdogs. Like Revenge of the Nerds. But if you go back and look at Revenge of the Nerds, those guys really weren't that good. But everybody were the Animal House guys. I mean, when you're watching like 13, you're like, yeah, those guys are great, but they're actually not. So I don't know, has anybody done like a movie where the normal people are the good guys? And like the outcast, right? Because we usually like to say, well, we think they're the outcast, but then they, we end
There's
up
a reason
wrong.
why they're the outcast.
Right, but
Karate Kid?
Yeah, Karate Kid, and like,
Karate
have anybody ever seen Freaks and Geeks?
Freaks and Geeks.
Ever seen? Good?
The
No?
Boy Scouts who beat up the
Okay, it was
zombies?
the starting thing for Jason Segel, was it James?
Seth Rogen,
Seth Rogen, wasn't James Franklin in it too?
James Franco, Nick Cardinelli.
Yeah, all these people, again, it was like, but again, I was not the cool guy. I was the metalhead in high school. I was the music guy and everything else. Like, I dated a popular girl, but I was not popular. Like, hey, everybody talked to me when I was with her. After that, like, screw you, you suck. But it's like, no, true story. But but again, yeah, it's like, yeah, flipping those things. So you can have normal people be the interesting people, but normal to who? Normal on what's high school here versus high school in New Jersey versus high school in Hawaii and things like that. You can have totally different mindsets on things like that. So maybe just like changing location could do things too. Were you gonna say something?
Well, I am contemporaneous with Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes.
And that whole California thing where the quality of your job was your social status.
Yeah.
I grew up in Alexandria. We had nothing like that. It was entirely different. I'm like, this matters? I mean, I'm like watching the movie and laughing at all the jokes, but it's like, I don't understand the culture here, with all the cliques and all. It was totally different than what I grew up with. And I actually had a girl in my English class who was a very bright, she was a very popular cheerleader. And then the teacher read one of her essays to us, which was like the best thing. And she had insights into whatever book we were reading that just staggered me. She was getting stuff that I had no idea. And I asked her about it later on. She said she wanted to be popular. She hid her light under the bushel until senior year when she she'd already been accepted at Stanford, I think it was. So it was time to, you know, take that bushel off, and she didn't care anymore. But I think that sort of secret, there's some possibilities there in that sort of like, you know, concealing your true identity in some ways could be useful.
Yeah, I watched a girl who was absolutely one of the most brilliant people I knew in college. But the instant her boyfriend walked through the door, she suddenly became an absolute bimbo. And it was on purpose because she didn't want him to feel bad because he wasn't smart. And I'm like, we were just having this most intense, like, conversation over here, and you are completely diminishing yourself to be acceptable. I mean, she was also about this big and blonde and absolutely gorgeous. So apparently she didn't think she could have everything, right? Like, and I'm like, okay, so there's underlying stuff there. It's the stuff in the cracks of the tropes. I think.
Yeah, and you can start with a stereotype, but I love getting to the layers. People are layered, and they're usually not showing you. They're only showing you the surface, and so that's why we have the stereotypes. You don't know what's going on with them, and so I think it's really empowering when a character, the growth is really obvious, and learning more about the character. So it's really great.
Yeah, and I'm thinking of, and first of all, I wanted to bring up just my psychologist mind, thinking, you realize that so many of our answers are going back to high school, and like, you know,
Right.
because, and I'm teaching Belmont Psych right now, I'm like, wait, this is, you know, this is where most of your personality is founded in these early years, and this is why high school stuff is so important now, because a lot of us, I'm not making fun of people, but we stagnated, and a lot of us stopped developing in high school. I'm not talking about peaking or things like that, I'm talking about our personality and stuff. And I have two examples that could go off of what you guys are saying. My favorite ex-student, I keep in touch with them, a lot of my students, like one girl, she's so badass. It's like I one or two people in life I will not screw with. I can do it on Instagram because I can run. But no, seriously, no, she was a cheerleader, and she went to George Mason. She was a cheerleader there. However, she was known to literally cut somebody apart if they did something wrong. Her boyfriends were afraid of her. Everything else, and I knew she was going to forensic psych, so I would go to my supposed to her, bring in piles of books, hand her. She's like, okay. And the next day she's like, what else do you have? I think she went through the whole thing. But again, and so her thing is she's like, she went from I want to find serial killers, even though do this stuff, and now she's looked into I want to help victims, and she's like, I wouldn't mind taking them out too. I was like, yeah, I know. And my other friend, Catherine Ramsey, she's a famous forensic psychologist. She caught the BTK killer. And she's worked with 27 serial killers, but they call her forensic Barbie because she's 5'1", looks like a cute little girl. And but I mean, how many of us could sit in front of a serial killer for 8 hours and talk and not go home and cry? I would, but again, things like that where you're turning it on its head. It sounds like a trope, but it's real. And I think that it's so easy to break out of this if we move a little bit to left or right and things like that. But I think it's just fun to do. And when I taught my creative writing class in high school, I would say my first assignment for all the classes was today's opposite you day. Your first assignment for me is to write a whole scene or like a page of a character who is the exact opposite of you. So whatever you think, duty, yeah. But it was fun. It was good. It's so tough. I had trouble doing it. But I think this way, if you're going to break out of things, and also use self-examination because you realize things that you didn't know before. Think, wait a minute, how do I treat the people I'm involved with? How do I treat my friends? How do I treat my family? How do I treat my schoolwork? Things get, and if you do that, then you can do that self-awareness of going through and realizing where you are, and then flip it on its head. It's like, whoa, do I really do this? And then when if you go push yourself with the writing, it purposely and it forcefully makes you think differently. And again, I tell you, I've heard more F-bombs in my class. Every time I do that one, people say, this sucks. This is hard. Why you make me do this? Why you torture me? So, but it's so cool. And I learned that from somebody else. It wasn't my idea. But again, and he told me to do this, and it was so invigorating to do. So, it is 11:47, so, open up to questions. Yes, ma'am.
In defense of the high school trope and without any spoilers, this new Star Trek,
Yeah.
we have amazing. We have Jock, we have the English gym teacher, we have the quirky principal, and of course, it was talked about a very complicated trope that they did well. They just turned it a little bit, just tweaked it in space for the Star Trek Academy.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, if you think about that, when did that come out?
Thursday.
What?
Thursday.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Thursday.
It's brand new, just dropped.
Brand new.
Oh, okay.
First season.
Sorry. And no, I mean, my hearing is so good, I'm like, it's been enveloped by this thing here.
It's very loud.
And I missed some of it, but thank you. Yes. Cool.
What about the trope of the evil just to be evil enemy?
Okay, if you write that, I'm gonna review your book in purpose and say you suck. No, I never do that. I never do that. I never give bad reviews to people who are so hard on. But it's like, if you're doing evil to be evil, it's like, that just shows the complete, utter laziness and boredom on your part. There's everybody, and again, we study this, and again, when I was writing this book on eugenics in America, okay, and specifically where I live now, and I delved into the character. This guy influenced Hitler. This guy told Hitler, "Hey, this would be a cool idea." But how to make it deeper in there? Like, wow, he has a kid who's disabled or deformed or whatever else, and you suddenly realize there's a reason for it. And like, he's still an asshole, but it's like things like that. But people told me my main character was an asshole. I was like, wait a minute, I thought he was really cool. And people were telling me, no, he's an ass. Like, but I think just to be evil, to be for the sake of evil, it's like you're not trying hard enough. Because again, you're not going to have a good guy or a good girl who's like all perfect. Because who wants to read that either? Yeah, thoughts on that one?
Definitely the motivation behind the character is really important. You're not just evil. Like, you're a baby at one point. What's your backstory? What's that character? What did that character go through? Maybe it's something crazy where that's what formed them. And I think that you kind of have to explain that to the reader without over-explaining it. Just really touch on why their head's that way, because nobody's just plain black and white evil.
I think maybe if you're not,
All right. Kind of good.
your villain would have to not be human, I think, for evil for the sake of evil. There was a definition of, I think it was a Buffy fan fiction, but explaining that sad things, crime, that's just life, right? Like, there's some things that are good, some things that are bad. But evil is evil for a reason, and that reason is that they literally hate everything, and they don't actually care about getting anything except, laughing when a puppy dies, eating babies. Actual evil is a whole level above what we think of as bad. Actual evil, if you are, I think it falls also into the cosmic horror concept. There are some things that are, in our eyes, it's evil. But maybe if we go that next level up in like consciousness or this other plane, it's not evil, it's just eating, right? Like the darkness in Fifth Element, right? That thing appears to be pure evil, and the Fifth Element has to be there to be the pure good to, counteract it, right? Like equal and opposites. But I think if you actually looked at what is that darkness doing, it is just absorbing and eating. It is hungry.
It's neutral hungry.
Evil. It is neutral. So
Neutral hungry.
I think there's something in there, evil for evil's sake has to happen at a almost cosmic level for it to be usable. Or say something demonic. Evil for evil's sake it depends which pantheon are you in. Because, like, if a demon is evil in the Christian sense, it is to tempt you to show that you are good, right? I want to seduce you into doing something bad. I'm evil for evil's sake, but that evil is there to give you contrast to be good. It's the problem of evil. You can't have good without having something to struggle against. And maybe that's, there's so many ways to take that on. But in like Buddhist thought, demons aren't evil, demons are different. Demons can also achieve nirvana and become part of the whole. They can, they have that ability. Jinn are supposed to be able to worship Allah. So it is, just one of those things where something isn't necessarily always evil, even though it, as a good, I was raised Catholic, forgive me.
4 years Catholic high school.
12.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's why we're where we are, right?
You're thinking.
Yeah, so I think that there are shades in there. And I think you could write a good evil character. But I think you really have to think about how you are defining evil in the world that you're writing.
Interesting. Yeah, that just made me think, as you brought up the C word, the Catholic school thing. I suffered with 12 years stuff, and it's mentioned, like, yes, I do have fear of penguins because again, my principal was about my height, but she was jacked, and she would literally pick people up by their shirt collars and push them up the wall. She was that strong, and she had a sign over her office saying Green Bay Packers. And we always joked that she was pissed that she was cut from the team. No, but if you saw a picture, but I showed her a picture in my class, people like, that's not real, it's gotta be AI. I said, no, she literally looked like that. But even then, I went back years later when I was first started teaching, and like I was desperate, and I interviewed at school, and I sat down to talk with her for an hour. I said, wait a minute, you're not horrible. But it was cool. Yeah, I'm still scared of her, but yeah, I really.
It's probably half your height.
Oh, hey, this is why I kept like at least 13 therapists in business. Yeah, no, she really was like over 6 foot. But so many of these things that we're doing, it's like, with just a little extra thought, with a little extra play. I mean, this is why I take notes of things and not really fully outline. Because when you're going through things, think, wait a minute, what if I just did this? Turn one screw this way, this that way, and it becomes different. And I think, and again, sometimes combining tropes is different, and so many things can be easily rectified. And let's face it, we're going to use tropes in our fiction. It's James saying there's nothing new, but the newness is how we combine it and check and everything else. And again, how we do it. So, yeah, are vampires bad? No. Are zombies bad? Yes. Are there things that, I'm kidding. Okay, no, here's the thing. My hardest experience, my coolest experience of writing is, it was born out of AuthorCon a couple of years ago. They said, what about if we got 13 authors together and everybody wrote a chapter? And for charity, and I said, sure, but I said, I want to write the last chapter. Stupidest move in my life, because I got to tie together 12 other things. But they say we wanted to have the zombies, and not my choice, but also born out of conference. So somebody says, oh, Zombicon. And then somebody says, no, wait a minute, Zombacon, because the same letters.
Yeah.
So basically, the zombie turns into like a giant swine zombie thing. It was so ludicrous, but it turned into so much fun. And like, wait a minute, so it was something it was a happy accident. Nobody planned that. Somebody came up with it, but I hate zombies. But I had a great time writing that one. But again, it's like just a little shift. Any other final questions? I don't know if we're gonna kick out of here or not. Yeah, all right. Yeah, everybody else is going over, so yeah, but I don't have the brain power for it. But listen, thank you guys so much. And if you're leaving, this is an awesome con. I mean, this is my first time here, and this is you. Again, obviously people on the panel are amazing, but they deserve a huge round of applause. But that's good. And also, we've had so many good questions. I mean, hey, with without having people in the audience asking questions, it's kind of suck. So, thank you for bringing the weirdness. So, I mean, we appreciate it.